had actually a good question, which I think really relates to the point in your story. Now, I'm not sure if you can see it, but he's basically asking if you could discuss the direction of feedback fruits for the coming 1 to 3 years, and in refining the tools or coming up with new tools. Like, what is your take on that? Like, where should we move into? If you can elaborate a little bit on that, that would be amazing.
All right, John, thank you for that question. So we have a sort of 80, 20, 2%. Well, that's not good accounting, but say 78, 20, and 2% focus. So 80% of the focus goes really to keep improving the current tooling for the current use cases, for the current tool to support more and more diverse type of use cases. Because you will always know that teacher that says, well, it's great at peer feedback, wonderful, but I want to review code instead of a website or instead of a video. So in order to make sure that we're the very best peer feedback tool out there, we should keep innovating without losing the ease of use. So that is attention, right? It's attention in where you add more options, more functionality, but that easy, straightforward use case shouldn't become too clumsy. I mean, I guess this was one of the mistakes of Blackboard. They added so much features. They could do everything, but because they could do everything, they couldn't do anything anymore. That has been a big lesson to us. So we have a method in order to make sure you grow into that experience. Also, instructional design is a great way to make sure that translation is done to all types of options, but still making it an easy experience. So a lot of effort will go to improving what we already have, and we already have quite some. Then 20% goes to building new tooling. So we're building new tooling with MIT at the moment, with Deakin University and some other universities. Will be focused on discussions. Well, I don't think I can say everything, but definitely one thing is a very proper way of supporting online discussions, much better, taking into account all what we know of constructive alignment and how to organize these discussions, scaffold these discussions perfectly. And then I guess that 2%, that is more going into really innovative elements, just like AI and well, what you've just seen, this academic writing, automated feedback, it really takes off. If we look at the Net Promoter Scores, considering how new this is, it's really good. It also has a very good business case because it can save a lot of time. If you look on a yearly basis for a campus, we estimate it to be, I think, well, we will be roughly at 10 to 15 to 10 to 15% time saving for reviewing with this current technology, which is already quite significant if you look at it. And this is time saving, actually giving feedback. There's of course also something which is hard to measure, but this is cognitive load of instructors. If you read something which is not well written, it's just harder. It takes more effort. So we haven't done any research there, but the hypothesis is that it also will help over there. So that's sort of roughly how we're going to innovate. But this is all on the existing tooling. And then there's one more element which we're going to bring in, and this is a little secret, but okay. We are going to build technology to support instructional designers doing their work. Because like GitHub, what GitHub does for coders, and maybe a bit less famous, but Figma does for designers, there's no such technology for instructional designers to do the work properly. So of course, we work together very close with a lot of instructional designers and thinking about what are the core use cases, how do we allow the process of piloting certain tooling and then upscaling the successful methods from these innovative teachers with a small community which was very closely monitored, in order now to let it be broadly adopted by much more teachers at the same time, without having to constantly support every instructor, because that's not scalable. And we call this the ID space. So keep an eye on our roadmap, and if you want to be involved, we will have a more in-depth conversation exactly on how it will look. But the ID space is coming up to support instructional designers doing their work. And this is, of course, at this moment, focused on implementing and introducing Feedback Fruits tooling in order to support certain learning activities, it will move towards more also tool independent, such that, because as an instructional designer, you're not only working with Feedback Foods tooling, so that's going to be a requirement. So the ID space is something that comes up, because as said, what we really want to make sure is we want to be facilitating this transition. And this requires instructional designers, which have an awesome, these are the key people. It's more important than technology, instructional designers, in order to facilitate this transition. Technology is only there to, if they have these great designs, to translate it in something that can actually work. But if you look at the amount of instructional designers compared to the amount of instructors, that's just out of balance. That needs to be scalable at some point. And that's, I guess, also where technology can help. Yeah, so exciting stuff. Thank you very much. Look forward to hear more. Thank you. Yeah. All right. Yeah, so I guess that's a
wrap.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess that's one element that I just want to highlight. Why are we building more tooling? We believe, and what we see also in reality, is if you are an instructional designer or an institution, and you need to work with 25 different vendors in order to support one course design, just over exaggerating a little, but you follow what I'm saying, like having to use different type of tooling for one specific course design, that's going to be really hard to do on a campus level as an institution, getting doing pilots with all of them, getting them on board, etc., etc. But there's one more thing, and that's on the user side. Every different tooling has his or her own user experience, learning experience. If you as a teacher or a student have to constantly get adopted to all those different ones, it's just very hard to do properly. Within Feedback Foods, if you might, well, you haven't seen it, but if you see more of our tooling, it's very similar. It has exactly the same setup and method. If you want to do great, you've seen how grading works in group member evaluation. That's exactly how it works for videos. That's exactly how it works for discussions. That's exactly how it works everywhere. You've seen how instructions work. That's exactly how it works everywhere. You've seen how analytics works. That's exactly how it works everywhere. In order to, once someone is familiar with one tool, it's really easy to adopt to another, and you don't have to get used to that complete learning experience. So that is something which is what we hear often, that this comes later. You won't find it when you start with one tool, but when you start adopting more, that's exactly where you see that value. Yeah. All right. So I guess that's, thank you for the overview. Great. Yeah, that's sort of rounding. I can talk for hours, of course, but this is rounding up my part of the story a bit. Being a bootstrap company at this stage, and of course we've grown very fast, and we're scaling up right now, allows also to encapsulate that innovation into our DNA in order to be really contributing to this transition, not now only, but continuously, and actually work together with the community to move towards better course design, because this is the key, the golden bullet. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ewout.
Thank you so much, Ewout.
Thank you. It's very much appreciated. With that being said, I would like to thank again our friends from Wharton, Dylan, Linda. Thank you so much for clearing your schedule to actually participate in this webinar. Ananda, also to you, thank you so much. And as said, like, there are so many people still left. It's highly appreciated. If anyone wants to know more, we're for sure going to reach out to all of you to see like if we can do something for you. But you can always reach out to us. Just visit our website, feedbackfruits.com, and there are many ways to get in touch with us. So, guys, thanks so much for attending, and have a good weekend in advance.
Have a great weekend, everyone.